So we did part 1. This is part 2, right? Long division. Okay. Ivan, this one here, Ivan, you have to be very, very careful.
No, I hate long division.
It's so easy to make a mistake. It's not difficult, but it's easy to make a mistake. You have to be very, very careful. So we're going to do that one next. We're going to do long division. Okay? So, do you know how, like, if you were going to do 212 divided by, I don't know, say, 3 or something, right? And you were going to do this with long division, you know how it would look like this, right? And your first question would be, well, 3 times what equals 2? Nothing. So then you go 3 times what equals 21, and you say, oh, well, that's 7, right? So then you multiply 3 times 7, and you do, that's 21, right? But the thing is, this is 7, that's positive, and that's 3, and that's positive, and that's a 21, that's positive, and you end up changing the sign. You subtract them. You do the same thing in long division. Then you go ahead and subtract, and that's equal to 0, and then you bring down the next number. 3 doesn't go into 2, so it goes 0 times, and your remainder is 2. But your remainder is actually 2 divided by 3. Your answer, check this out, 212 equals 70 plus 2 over 3 times 3. That's the answer. And I could check that if I wanted. I think we should, just to make sure. So I'm going to check this. I'm going to multiply this together and see if it really equals 212. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to distribute 3 times this and 3 times that. Okay, now I'm checking, right? So 3 times 70 is 210. I'm pretty confident with that. 3 times 2/3, right? Well, don't you put a 1 under it, and then 3 is reduced, and you're left with 2? Well, that's 212. See? It's true.
In the remainder, why did you put a 3 on the bottom?
Because it's not a remainder of 2. It's actually a remainder of 2 divided by 3. Because you're dividing by 3. You're trying to say 3 goes into 2. That's your remainder. That's what's left over. But it's not just the number 2. It's not 70 plus 2. That would be 72. It's 70 plus 2/3. Yeah. It's kind of weird, right? So, what's that, Ivan? Oh, Edgar?
Where did you get 212 from?
Where did I get 212?
Yeah.
I made it up.
Example.
I just made it up.
It's nothing to do with it.
Yeah, this is nothing. Look,
Okay.
the process,
It's the process.
the process for this is the same as the process for this. Polynomials are just numbers. That's it. They're just numbers. So, like, I'm going to do this the same exact way. 2x cubed. Oh, now, washa. With numbers. Oh my gosh. Let's say we had 5,072. Do you see how we have a 0 right there? That's 0 hundredths. With polynomials, we don't usually write that. Like, you might have something like 2x cubed minus 2x squared. We don't write, oh, sorry, let's say, 2x cubed minus 2x. So we had something like this, okay? Sorry if I confused you with that. I was thinking of the thing I was going to skip, and then I wrote it. So do you see how there's no x squared in the middle? We would never write this with a polynomial. But these are the same. We do this with our number system. If there's a space, like a 0, we put the 0 for a space holder, but we don't do it with polynomials. We just write this. So the point is, and we're going to do one of these later. You see it's cubed, squared, to power 1, and then power 0. There's not one. Everything's there. If one of them was missing, we'd have to put it here with a 0. So this says 5x squared, but if that wasn't there, we'd put 0x squared right here. Okay? So 5x squared minus 7x minus 20. X minus 3. All right, Edgar. Don't be so sad. All right. Check it out, Edgar. Check this out. the thing we did here is we had to figure out how many times does this go into this, right? How many times is 3? So here we're going to do the same thing. How many times does x go into 2x cubed? Or, another way to ask it, what times x equals 2x cubed? What number times x?
2x squared.
2x. See, Edgar, seriously, that's why this is my favorite class right there. Man, you guys are smart, kind, you smell nice. Man, this is just fantastic. All right, so now remember what we did last time is we multiplied, right? 7 times 3, and so that's what we're going to do here. But we have to multiply by the whole thing. So 2x squared times x is 2x cubed, yeah? And then 2x squared times negative 3 is negative 6x squared. Now the part that's going to mess you up. This is the part that's going to just, that you'll mess up. You have to be careful here. Because we subtracted, right? We have to subtract here, but we have to change the signs of everything. We're subtracting the whole thing. If you did it right every single time, this part will be 0. Every time. So if that's not 0, then this number right here is wrong, and you need to fix it. So negative 5 plus 1, I'm not very good at math, but I think that's, or negative 5 plus 6 is 1, right? And then, do you see how over here we brought down the next number? That's what we're going to do here. We're going to bring down this next number, negative 7x. Now we have to figure out x times what is x squared, and that number will go right here. So x times what is x squared? Isn't that x?
Yeah.
That's x, right? Okay, so x times this, and that will go here. X times x is x squared. That's good, those are the same. Minus 3x. Now don't forget, for the love of all that's good and holy, change the signs. Then you add them. Let's see, that's 0. That's perfect. Bring down what's left. So you see, it's not tricky. You already know the steps. Same thing as here. You just have to be careful. Now, x times what is negative 4x? Negative 4, correct? Okay. Negative 4 plus 12. Change the signs. And now this sign's trickier to change because it's a positive. You see what yeah? 8. That's my remainder. But in actuality, the remainder is 8 over x minus 3. Okay. So, here's how you could write your answer. You could write that this whole thing right here equals 2x squared plus x minus 4 plus 8 over x minus 3. That's your remainder. That's pretty fancy right there. That's fancy. Man, that's high class. That's some good learning. This is a bargain education you guys are receiving.